Hey, what's up gamers? I'm Bianca.
And I'm James.
We're a husband and wife board gaming duo called the Tricktakers. And today we have a brand new video for you about our top played games in 2021.
So this doesn't only include games that came out in 2021, this also includes games that came out before that maybe we just discovered in 2021 or ones that we wanted to try to play again in 2021.
Yeah, so games that are new to us, new in general, just games that we really enjoyed overall this last year. Okay, so for this list, it's a little different than lists we've done in the past. And for this, we've come up with two separate lists. So I've come up with my top 5 games of 2021, and he came up with his top 5. But before we get started, honorable mentions.
Yeah, so these weren't games that made our top 5 for this past year, but we still thought that they were worth mentioning because we thoroughly enjoyed them. And so I'm gonna kick off my list with some of those honorable mentions. So the first one to get us started is gonna be Ticket to Ride. Now this isn't the most, complex games for those die-hard board gamers out there, but this is a great intro game to get people kind of right on the cusp of getting into board games, into gaming. So this is a really simple game to teach people, and it's got a really fun theme. You're just building trains, and it's just a great game, I think.
Yeah, I think we had a great time playing this with your parents. That was definitely a highlight for this one.
Yeah, there's a reason that millions of these copies have been sold. On to my next game, I have The Grand Carnival. Now this is a great game for a quiet night, and if you just want a really puzzly tile laying experience. We've had a few different videos related, and we've called it this game, but we played a ton of this kind of while we were stuck at home with, just a fun game. It's got a great theme with all the kind of carnival ride stuff, building a theme park, that kind of thing. Great time.
Cool. Yeah, that's a great pick.
And the last one on my honorable mentions is Mysterium. I always love pulling this game out. It's got its own soundtrack. It just makes for a really great experience. You turn the lights off, you get the music going, and then you perform a seance. And this is always a fun one to bring to the table.
Yeah, and it's got a spooky theme too, so it's perfect around Halloween. Or if you enjoy ghosts like I do, then it's perfect for any time of year, honestly.
Yeah, and it's got a real kind of Codenames type vibe where you're trying to do a match thing based on someone giving clues. So if you like Codenames, this might be a good step up from there. And that's my honorable mentions.
Okay, my turn. So my first one is Welcome To. My friend Kirsten introduced me to this on Board Game Arena, and I was pretty hooked on it for the first part of the year. So the first couple months I was playing this a lot on Board Game Arena, and it's a roll and write game. You're basically filling in numbers on houses in a neighborhood and trying to reach goals before the other players do. So the awesome thing about this game is it can be played with anywhere from 1 to 100 players. So yeah, it's a great party game. It's just really fun. So yeah. I like this one.
It's a great filler game if you got 20 minutes to kill and just want to play a little puzzle. Definitely do Welcome To.
Yeah, and this one was new to me. I've never played this until 2021. So, and then up next, this shouldn't be a surprise to you. Up next is Viticulture. This is a worker placement game where you're basically making wines, and you go through the whole process of, basically planting your seeds, growing your grapes, making the wine, selling the wine, and it's kind of a race. You're trying to beat the other players to 25 points.
Wine orders, yeah.
Yep, so this is my second honorable mention.
This is a great theme and a great thing to have a glass of wine while playing.
Yeah, for sure. And then lastly, this, I feel like this should be in my top 5, but it's just, I don't know, there's too many games, guys. But this one, Honey Buzz. Now, this is a game that came out in 2020, and I didn't get to play it until 2021. And I honestly just really, really love it. Like, the artwork is amazing. The theme is just awesome. And I don't know, I just really like it. It is a worker placement slash tile laying, and I don't know what other mechanics are in this.
Resource management.
There's
like market economy type stuff going on.
I mean, it's kind of similar to viticulture in some ways with some of the mechanics, but yeah, this one is really fun. And so far we've only played it with just the two of us, but I'm looking forward to playing this with more people this year. So
we finally got it off our shelf with shame, but maybe if we got it off sooner, it would be in the top 5.
Yes, for sure. Can't wait to try that one again.
So that's it for our honorable mentions, and we'll continue on to the top 5 list.
For my number 5, I picked a game that we bought in 2020 but didn't actually play until 2021, and that's because it requires kind of a higher player count. It just plays better at higher numbers. And obviously in 2020, we were in quarantine, so it was just the two of us. So we were really excited in 2021 we could finally have friends over and play some of these games that have been sitting on our shelves. So my first pick is Rival Restaurants. Now that game is right here. It's very tight in the shelf. There we go. Yes, Rival Restaurants. This is my number 5. And it is basically a game where each player is a chef and they are making recipes for their restaurant, and then whoever gets the most points by making recipes wins the game.
Yeah, so just to reveal a little secret, this is my number 5 as well. So this is actually, I'm not a big bartering game fan. I am not a fan of Catan, and even though that might not sit well with a lot of people out there, but I think this is a great theme of a game. I think it's a great bartering game, and it's really, every time we brought it to the table, it's been a blast of fun. You have to talk with other people. You can only go to certain stands to get certain kinds of food, so you need to barter. You know, unlike, say, maybe Catan, where once you have a port, you can just trade all your resources for other resources, and maybe you lose some of that aspects. Yeah, so I think it's a great game overall, and that's why it made my top 5 as well.
Well, I, for one, am shocked because I know James doesn't like bartering, and I never imagined this would make his list. So, wow, you're full of surprises today.
Yeah, it's always a great time though. Definitely check out this game, Rival Restaurants.
Yes, and we have the expansion for it too, but we haven't tried it yet just because, you know, we've gotten a handful of plays in with this, but I think we're ready to try the expansion at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. All right, well, I guess since we had a crossover, do you want to start with your number 4?
Yeah, we can move on to number 4. Alright, so kicking off our number 4 is a game, and this kind of meets some of the other criteria of other games I've picked, is that it's a great 2-player game, and it's a game that we brought to the table many a times over quarantine, and we both love playing. So the game I have for number 4 is Century Golem. This is a great looking game. It's got a really cute theme with all the golem drawings that they have, but you're basically trying to build an engine of kind of gem trading and everything to get enough gems of certain colors to get these golems, and whoever gets 5 golems first wins the game. But the gems are super cute. The kind of building your engine of these little converter cards is really cool. And once you get going, you know, it's just inevitable that you're gonna end up getting all the golems. So we brought this out plenty of times, and that's why it makes my number 4 for 2021.
Another cool thing about this game is we kind of picked it up without really planning on it. Like, we were just in a game store and somebody who worked there recommended this. So we brought it home and ended up really, really liking it. So it's always great when a game kind of takes you by surprise like that.
Yeah, so definitely check this out, Century Golem Edition.
For my number 4, I picked a game that I actually only played one time in all of 2021 because that was at PAX Unplugged. So this is a game called Now Boarding, and it actually came out in 2018, but I played it for the first time at PAX Unplugged and had such a blast playing this. It's really fun, really collaborative. I love the artwork. Basically, it's a cooperative game where everyone's working together to bring passengers to their destinations. And, you know, everyone's like a different airline, so everyone has their own route, and everyone's trying to figure out like, oh, well, I have this route and you have that route, but I need to, you know, and I can't get to this destination. So instead, I'm going to meet you at this airport and drop off, you know, the passenger there, and then you can pick them up and take them here. And it's really chaotic, and yeah, I just love it. Fell in love with it right away.
Yeah, we played this at the end of PAX and we had a great time. The difficulty was like, we just barely made it. Now we did play this game recently with 3 players instead of 4, and it seemed a lot easier and maybe, you know, a little less stressful, and part of that stress is what makes the game so fun and chaotic. So we got to give this another chance, but this was a great game that we played in 2021.
Yes, so that's my number 4, Now Boarding by Fowers Games.
So my number 3 is probably also a top 5 if we had a list for 2020, and that's going to be Horrified. Now, we love this game. This game has come to our table so many times over the past year that I can't help but, you know, put it on the list. It's a great cooperative game. It's got all the monsters from the movies, and it's a really simple game to get people into as well if they're new to the whole board game world. So I have a couple that are higher on my list, but this is definitely a great recommend. So definitely pick this up if you don't have it.
Yeah, I bought this right at the very beginning of the pandemic, and we have played it so many times. It's gotten so much play since we picked it up, and I don't know, it's just really fun, and we both love it a lot. It is not on my list, unfortunately, but I do love this game, so.
Yeah, and the different difficulties you can have based on how many monsters there are and other things just makes it a pretty lightweight, kind of fun experience to bring out. So, number 3, Horrified.
My number 3 is a game that actually came out in 2021, and it's one that I almost backed on Kickstarter, but kind of dragged my feet a little bit because I thought it was pretty similar to another game that we have. But once I played it in a board game cafe, I had to have it, and that game is Cascadia. Here it is, Cascadia, yes. I love the artwork on this one. It's tile laying. It involves basically trying to reach different goals. So there's a lot of replayability in this game because you can basically draw different cards every time and try and meet different goals every time you play. Yeah, I just really enjoy this. I'm not very good at it, but I do really like it, so.
Yeah, the combination of the tiles plus the animals that come out and kind of mix and matching the two in order to hit these kind of combos based on how everything is laid out. It's a really fun puzzle game. We kind of played it on a whim because we thought the artwork was great and we really liked it, so we brought it to the table multiple times. And it's a pretty lightweight game. It's not too crazy to get people into, and yeah, definitely recommend Cascadia. We have a little crossover when it comes to my number 2. We've already talked about this game, but this is a game I couldn't put down, and I played probably 100 times on Board Game Arena or every little chance I could, and that's Welcome To. This game is such a fun little game, especially if you play it online, to just kind of pick up, play for 15-20 minutes, do a little puzzle, like try and think of the best layout of your little town while you're filling in the numbers that are available. And you know, it's really interesting because everyone gets the same cards that come out, but the way that the towns end up being at the end of it is just so different that it's kind of mesmerizing to think about how people are thinking about how to fill their town. So this is a great game, and that's why I have it as number 2.
My number 2 game really makes me smile because it is one of my favorite games of all time, and that is Lost Ruins of Arnak. So that is right here. Here it is, Lost Ruins of Arnak. This game actually came out in 2020, and we picked it up in, I think, early 2021. We first played this on Board Game Arena and then fell in love with it, had to have it in person, and honestly, it's so much more enjoyable in person. Don't get me wrong, the board game arena experience is still really solid, but I just love, you know, seeing this on the table and all of the artwork. This is another worker placement game. I've really liked worker placement games this year, so, but it also involves deck building and resource management, so it has a lot going on, and there's a lot of like puzzles kind of that you're solving throughout, so I really like this one.
Yeah, when you're playing online, you can't retcon, you know, mistakes, so with all the different kind of puzzly aspects of it, of trying to think which resources you should get, which guardian you should beat up, which, like, if you should do some research, you can make so many kind of, you know, optimization mistakes as you go, but instead of having that analysis paralysis, you kind of just have to go with it, and yeah, it's a great game.
Yep, that's Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Well, I guess I'll just keep this out. So here's a game that we didn't just talk about. My number one is Lost Ruins of Arnak. And so it's obvious that we both love this game. It comes to the table all the time, or we play it online all the time, just because it's a great resource, worker placement game, you know, and maybe it didn't reach her number one, but this is definitely my number one of the year based on just pure number of playthroughs and the fact that we kind of can't get sick of it. So definitely get this game. Check it out if you haven't, Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Oh yeah, and if you guys didn't see in our PAX Unplugged video, we picked up the expansion for this game. So you know for sure this year we're going to be playing this with the expansion, and we'll let you know how it is.
Yeah, we have the
It's right here.
expedition leaders right here. So we're looking to bring that out and try it out in the new year.
Yep. Okay, we're down to the wire. It's my number one. And this is another worker placement game that also involves resource management. I guess those are my favorite mechanisms of the year.
That was our theme for 2021,
Yeah.
Worker placement, resource management.
Viticulture, Lost Ruins of Arnak, and now my number one is Everdell. So this is a game right here. Here it is. This is Everdell, and this is a game that was actually on our shelf of shame for quite a while.
Yeah.
It's hard when, you know, there's a game that you really want to play and you want to make sure you get it right, but you know there's a lot of rules involved and stuff to finally get that off the shelf. But I'm so glad we did, because it ended up being just really fun and the artwork was amazing. And I ended up getting some upgrades for this game, which made it even better. So yeah, I really like this one, and I decided to put it in my number one spot.
Yeah, we even stopped at a booth at PAX and picked up an expansion for Everdell, so we have to still try that out. So we picked up Pearlbrook, so this should be fun as well. It just adds a little bit to the game. And it's really cool because all the pieces kind of like snap on to the original board. So you have the big tree, the original board, and then if you have any expansions, they kind of just go around it and things. So maybe takes up a lot of room on your board, on your table, but yeah, it's a great experience playing Everdell.
Yep, so that's my number one, and that's pretty much a good summary of the games we played this past year.
Yeah, there's a reason all these games made it on. For me, it was mainly just pure number of plays, how many times we brought it out, and then, you know, enjoyment factor and things. So that's why games like Rival Restaurants made my list, because every time we brought it out, everyone loved playing it. So even if I don't like, maybe I'm just bad at bartering games, it's still just a super fun game.
Yeah, for me, I think I was looking mostly for number of plays, but also, even if I only played it once, like now boarding, like how badly do I want to get that to the table again? And I really wanted to play that another few times. So like it's one of those games that's kind of in the forefront of my mind right now that I want to like play and play and play. So yeah, that's how I picked my top 5. So
those are our top 5 played games of 2021. What are some of your top games that you played in 2021? Maybe there was a game that came out 5-10 years ago, but you just found it and couldn't put it down. We're curious, so put it in the comments and we'll see if we missed something.
Yeah, or maybe you rediscovered a game that you haven't played in forever and now you're, found a whole new love for it. Let us know. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and ring the bell to get notified when our next video drops. We'll see you next time. Tricktakers out.